Battle through the firmament. Great world. Chapter 581. The heart fire began to burn. In the dark space, Xiaoyan's body was wrapped by the purple blood. Every drop of the purple blood was emitting a fragrance that excited the pores all over his body. The blood entered his body and was crazily absorbed by his limbs and bones. In an instant, an even stronger force arose spontaneously. Many thanks, Xiao. Xiaoyan's injuries recovered once again. Immediately, his brows stood up and he let out a hearty laugh. The 9 chains within his body had once again regained their vitality. The chains rumbled under the cover of the purple origin key, and they actually showed signs of penetrating his body. Boom! His soul energy became more solid. Xiaoyan suddenly stood up and grabbed the dark golden shield in front of him. He roared furiously and stepped towards the golden light. The invincible Saint Aura hit the dark golden shield, but it didn't have any reaction, causing Xiaoyan to approach it step by step. Xiaoyan's eyes turned red. He circulated all the origin kiss in his body. He stretched out his arm and his 5 fingers were about to grab the golden light. His arm was burned by the light again, but the purple blood was circulating crazily, healing his injuries over and over again. Crack! A soft sound was suddenly heard. Xiaoyan's skin cracked open once again. Even with the help of the purple blood, it could not match the speed at which his skin cracked. Very quickly, Xiaoyan's aura became dispirited once again. Bang! The moment his ki weakened, flames rose around Xiaoyan's body. The 3 colored flames had completely protected him. The flames lingered around his body, protecting his last bit of clarity. In the midst of the earth-shaking buzzing sound, Xiaoyan finally held the ball of light tightly in his hand. Refining. Xiaoyan's voice was hoarse. The remaining few origin kiss within his body roared as they surged towards his palm. The 3 types of monic flame's might were irreplaceable. They wrapped around his fist and were about to refine this cluster of light into his body. Buzz! A continuous vibration came from the center of his palm. Xiaoyan's 5 fingers were almost broken. The heart-piercing pain was like sharp blades piercing into his body, causing his eyes to almost split open. Hua! Just as Xiaoyan's body was about to break apart, milky white spirit liquid began to flow out from under his skin. The moment the milky white spirit liquid appeared, it flowed through Xiaoyan's body like a clear spring. Waves of sweet fragrance were emitted. Wherever the spirit liquid flowed, the wound was recovering at a visible speed. Its speed was almost the same as the purple blood. The 10,000 spirit divine milk, a heavenly treasure that Xiaoyan had absorbed in the chaos blood cliff, had also displayed its greatest effect at this moment. Feeling the life force in his body rejuvenating, Xiaoyan was slightly delighted in his heart. When he was at the bottom of the chaos blood cliff, he had practically swallowed the entire pond of myriad spirit divine milk without hesitation. Although he had successfully advanced to the Monic Emperor, the true effect of the myriad spirit divine milk had yet to be revealed. Under the unparalleled pressure, the effect of the myriad spirit divine milk that could even move a heavenly sovereign warrior was fully displayed. It was like providing charcoal in the snow, and it had provided Xiaoyan with the greatest help. In the outside world, the Xiao looked at Xiaoyan with a pale face. The latter's face was deathly pale. If it wasn't for the fact that he was breathing faintly, the Xiao would have woken him up and used it. After the sacred dragon blood bath, he temporarily didn't have much strength left. He could only watch helplessly as Xiaoyan suffered, but there was nothing he could do. You bastard, why did you provoke the law of God all of a sudden? The Xiao was so anxious that his face turned red. He was extremely vexed. He should have told him how powerful the law of God was back then, so that he could stop this crazy thought from running wild. Hiss! Although his body was severely injured once again, Xiaoyan's eyes became brighter and brighter. The 10,000 spirit divine milk repeatedly tempered his body, healing his injuries along with the purple blood. At the same time, he could clearly feel that under the suppression of the prestige power spell, the law of God couldn't exert too much of its power, and wisps of pure origin kiss began to enter his body through his palm. He thought that it wouldn't take long for him to refine it. The law of God was the unique key of a saint. It was enough to suppress the heavenly Tao. If he could refine it, he would be able to easily neutralize the attack of a heavenly sovereign in the future. Although he had suffered such pain this time, it would be worthwhile for him to have another way to save his life. In the silent space, buzzing noises could be heard continuously. Shaoyan held the dark golden shield in his left hand and the golden light in his right hand. Without realizing it, 3 days had passed. It's done. The Xiaoao once again stuck its fingertip to Shaoyan's forehead. It felt the latter's mind and felt that the power of the golden light was getting weaker and weaker. It couldn't help but laugh. These few days, he had been in a state of shock and fear, afraid that something bad would happen. It's done. Shaoyan let out a long sigh of relief as he felt the golden light that was no longer fluctuating in his palm. His body had cracked countless times in the past 3 days, and the purple blood had almost been used up. Fortunately, he had the 10,000 spirit divine milk to maintain the life force in his body. Otherwise, he would have become a dried corpse a long time ago. Currently, Shaoyan's eye sockets were deeply sunken, and his face was pale. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that he was just skin and bones, and his appearance was extremely horrifying. Next up is, Shaoyan carefully withdrew his palm. Before he could react, Origin Kiss suddenly overflowed from his palm. Boundless Origin Kiss flowed through the pores in his palm into Shaoyan's body, roaring and circulating within his meridians, causing the origin chains to rumble. The pain that came from his body caused Shaoyan to suddenly wake up. His mind moved. He immediately thought of the source of these origin monic kiss. Back when the 3 blood seals were still on him, all the origin kiss that he cultivated, and even the origin kiss that he absorbed from the spirit origin formation, were all absorbed by the blood seals. After a long period of time, an incomparably large amount of origin kiss would definitely be accumulated within. Later on, the 3 blood seals were devoured by the law of God, and they naturally absorbed these extremely majestic origin kiss. Now, these origin kiss were being refined by him. They had once again entered his body. After spending 500 million spirit origin stones, how many origin kiss could he continuously absorb with the level 5 spirit source array? Shaoyan had no time to think. All of the meridians in his body were filled with origin kiss. Immediately, he felt waves of swelling. Shaoyan vaguely felt that something was not right, but he could not say anything. He could only hold his breath and concentrate. The 9 chains rumbled as they drove the boundless origin kiss through all the meridians and flowed through the origin monic crystals. After which, they were once again absorbed by all the muscles and bones in his body. Buzz buzz buzz. Shaoyan stretched out his palm. The golden light seemed to be attached to his palm. Waves of extremely pure origin kiss entered his body continuously, and the source energy flowed through every part of his body. Soon, all of his injuries were healed, and the divine spirit milk that had invaded his body was diluted into the origin key, causing all the functions in his body to slowly become stronger. His heart was being nourished by the origin key, causing it to violently beat. Fresh blood flowed out from within it, and it quickly returned to normal. However, if one were to look carefully, one would notice that there was a faint golden light mixed within the red blood, causing it to appear extremely holy. Buzz. After continuing for an hour, Shaoyan's body suddenly shook. It was just like a mountain torrent that poured down. Following the sound of metal colliding, another origin keychain that cut across his body appeared out of nowhere. The golden glow on the chain was extremely frightening. Not good. Shaoyan was suddenly startled. He immediately cried out in alarm. Before his voice could fade, an unusual change occurred within his body. Following the appearance of this origin chains, a scarlet flame appeared out of nowhere. In an instant, it burned within Shaoyan's body. All the origin kiss that the flame touched turned into nothingness. The Monic Emperor heart flame burning appeared. Chapter N. Battle through the firmament. Great world. Chapter 582 Burn yourself. The heart flame burning was the training that the fighting monarchs of the lower realm feared the most. It would appear when one broke through to the Emperor cultivation from the monarch emperor. No one knew where it came from, but it was like an irresistible law. It appeared out of thin air, causing countless geniuses from the lower realms to fall at this level. As for why there was an irresistible element, the heart flame burning, Xiaoyan and Zhu Kun, Guyuan and the others had also discussed it, but they couldn't come up with any convincing reason. Up until now, among all the experts he had come into contact with, not a single one of them came from the lower realm, even if they were as strong as Qi Yun. The Great Elder and the others were unable to provide him with any valuable explanation. He could only rely on himself to figure out everything. Xiaoyan had also thought about it for many days. The Xiao clan might have some experience in this field. Back then, Xiao Tiankang had abandoned his cultivation base as a supreme saint and entered the fighting Dao Qi continent with his soul body. After that, he had once again stepped into the great world. His thick hair was thin, and he had once again become the top existence in the great world. From the moment he broke through to the Emperor cultivation, all the way to the Saint realm, he had experienced the heart flame burning several times, and it was very likely that he had left behind some valuable information. Now that the heart flame burning had suddenly appeared, he didn't have the time to go to the Xiao clan to borrow the information left by Xiao Tiankang. Fortunately, he had obtained some insights about the heart flame burning in the Emperor cultivation tomb, and he had carefully observed it before. Otherwise, this time, it would be a disaster for him. Xiaoyan frowned as he felt the burning pain in his body. After reading the enlightenment of the heart flame burning, he frowned. He did not panic in the face of such a situation. Immediately, he flicked his finger and an essence protecting pill appeared in his palm. According to that piece of comprehension, at the beginning of the heart flame burning, there would be a scarlet flame that was powerful enough to burn anything within the flame mantra burning spell in his body. Only by eliminating it with the help of the origin key would the spirit of heart flame appear. The core step of the heart flame burning was to refine the spirit of heart flame. Only by completely absorbing the latter's spirit source could the 10 chains merge into one. Initial prying into the great Tao laws. The heart flame burning was less than 90% complete. The danger within was difficult to describe. A moment of carelessness could result in a backlash from the spirit of heart flame, causing one's body to perish and one's Tao to disappear. Since ancient times, countless fighting monarchs of the lower realms had come to this great world, but not many of them had left a deep mark in history. Their innate talent was extraordinary, and they were all peerless geniuses. However, almost all of them had fallen to the heart flame burning, and had yet to truly grow. Xiaoyan held his breath and focused his mind. After he swallowed the essence protecting pill, it immediately shattered, turning into a thick water vapor that wrapped around all the meridians in his body. Under the gentle touch of the water vapor, the swelling feeling in his meridians dissipated, and was replaced by a warm and comfortable feeling. The scarlet flame burned wantonly, as if it wanted to burn everything. However, with the protection of the water vapor, the damage suffered by the meridians was greatly reduced. In a short period of time, the scarlet flame could not be burned anymore, giving Xiaoyan a slight chance to ease it. According to the experiences left behind by the Emperor Cultivation Senior, Xiaoyan didn't panic. He temporarily put the matter of the golden light aside and focused all his attention on his body. He circulated all the origin key in his body to suppress the scarlet flame. The boundless origin key poured down like a flood, slowly consuming the power of the scarlet flame. Qi, the scarlet flame moved around in every part of his body. Sparks scattered in all directions, and like a gangrene attached to his bones, they were absorbed into his meridians, corroding the water vapor on them. A pungent smell was emitted, and in the end, the sparks disappeared, but the water vapor on them had mostly dissipated. As time passed, the water vapor that wrapped around his meridians became lesser and lesser. Xiaoyan's forehead couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. The majestic origin key kept pouring into the scarlet flames, but it didn't seem to have any obvious effect. If not for the essence-protecting pill having an obvious effect, Xiaoyan almost doubted the authenticity of that piece of knowledge. The water vapor in his meridians rapidly decreased. Xiaoyan could not help but panic. He had witnessed the power of the spirit of heart flame. If he could not even eliminate this flame, not to mention completely refining the spirit of heart flame. He took a deep breath and exhaled the foul air in his body. Xiaoyan's mind became clear and his mind was alive. He thought of the description of the enlightenment. The origin key in his body rumbled up once again. It was as if a whirlwind had been stirred up in his body, and it instantly enveloped the scarlet flame. The origin key howled, and it caused the 10 chains to emit rustling sounds. It was like the furious roars of 10 huge dragons, and it trapped the scarlet flames layer by layer. The heart-burning pain that spread out from the flames caused Xiaoyan's scalp to go numb, and he felt as if his heart was about to explode. The water vapor that covered his meridians seemed to have encountered a raging fire, and it quickly melted. Xiaoyan's lips were cracked and his eyes were about to crack. The water in his body evaporated because of this. The blood that was originally full was once again burned away by the scarlet flames. The twitching pain made him suck in a cold breath of air. Bang! Following the crazy surging of the origin key in his body, the scarlet flame finally disappeared without a trace. Xiaoyan felt dizzy, but he did not dare relax at all. His mind was as tight as a bow as he stared intently at the spot where the scarlet flame had disappeared. A scarlet-red shadow slowly appeared. When the shadow solidified, Xiaoyan's pupils suddenly focused. The former's face was actually exactly the same as his. The so-called spirit of heart flame is most likely the fighting monarch of the lower realm's heart tribulation. The heart flame burning is also the burning body. Only by defeating me completely can I welcome a brand new me. Looking at the red-skinned Xiaoyan in front of him, the words that were recorded in the comprehension suddenly appeared in Xiaoyan's mind. Originally, he was quite confused by these words, but now, he finally understood. Defeat me in the past and welcome a brand new me. Xiaoyan muttered to himself in a low voice. His eyes gradually became bright. On the path of the emperor cultivation, one would be at the initial stage of prying into the laws of the great Tao and fighting with the world. The heart flame burning was the little me that had been burned and refined. It would welcome a true, big me. In front of him was Xiaoyan. His skin was scarlet red, and his expression was calm. His eyes were filled with raging flames, and his aura was exactly the same as his own. This was the spirit of heart flame that had been formed. Clang! The skin color of Xiaoyan, who had transformed into his body, was golden. His ki and blood churned. Immediately, he let out a long roar and swung his fist furiously at the spirit of heart flame, Xiaoyan. The golden origin ki on his fist surged. It bathed Xiaoyan's entire body in a golden glow. He took large strides forward and his fist instantly appeared on the spirit of heart flame's chest. Roar! The spirit of heart flame did not move. The moment the golden fist landed on it, its waist suddenly bent. It was like a peerless, ferocious beast that was hibernating. Behind it, a blood-red ocean was surging. A blood-red tiger rushed out from the sea of blood. It was very aggressive. With a loud bang, it neutralized the power of the golden fist. The remaining force was still roaring at Xiaoyan. White tiger spiritual spell. Xiaoyan couldn't help but be startled when he saw the blood-red white tiger. Immediately, he let out a soft shout, and his body stopped abruptly. He struck out with his left palm, and the golden origin key in his palm was so thick that it went straight for the blood-white tiger's vital gate. He had mastered the white tiger arts, so he naturally knew what the flaw of this skill was. Qi, the spirit of heart flame took a step back and clenched its 5 fingers tightly. The blood-white tiger suddenly disappeared, causing Xiaoyan's palm to strike empty air. In the next moment, a blood-red green dragon rose from the sea of blood behind the former. The killing aura of the green dragon was majestic and vast, and it was filled with a mighty pressure. At the instant it appeared, it rushed towards Xiaoyan, wanting to completely kill the latter. Azure Dragon Arts. Xiaoyan laughed softly. He now understood that this spirit of heart flame had mastered all of his monic skill. Try this. Shaoyan roared towards the sky and rushed towards the green dragon. He clenched his 5 fingers tightly and the blue flame ruler appeared in his palm. Like a peerless strike, it smashed towards the roaring green dragon. Chapter End. Battle through the firmament. Great world. Chapter 583 The battle between the two Shaoyan. In a chaotic space, 2 black figures were engaged in a fierce battle. Behind the blood-red figure was a monstrous sea of blood. In the sea of blood, a blood-red azure dragon twisted its enormous body. It carried an incomparably sharp killing intent as it slashed down like a blood-red sharp sword. Below, a golden figure shot up into the sky. With a scarlet golden ruler in hand, it hacked out, breaking through the 9 heavens, and collided fiercely with the azure dragon. Wang! The huge ruler trembled and the green dragon wailed. The red and golden figures were sent flying backward. The exchange between the two was once again evenly matched. What a headache! His figure paused for a moment before steadily landing on the ground. Shaoyan's entire body was covered in golden light. His eyes surged with a golden glow. He held the blue flame ruler in his hand and stared intently at the red figure in the distance, the other him. The self formed by the spirit of heart flame was no different from his own strength. Whether it was his mastery of the monic skill or his rich combat experience, it was the same as Shaoyan. After a fierce battle, he hadn't made any progress at all. Do you have this? Shaoyan grinned and stretched out his left hand. A crimson gold flame appeared in his hand. In the center of the flame, a wisp of blue light flowed slightly. It was beautiful and exquisite, as if carved out of jade. In the distance, Shaoyan, who was in the form of the spirit of heart flame, had a calm expression. His eyes were deep, and behind him was a sea of blood. He looked like a demon god that had walked out from the depths of hell. His aura was intimidating, and his killing intent was awe-inspiring. Swoosh! Under Shaoyan's astonished gaze, the spirit of heart flame extended its right hand. The monic flame, which looked exactly the same as the one in the former's hand, slowly appeared, and the aura it emitted was equally shocking. Shaoyan was shocked. Just as he was in shock, the spirit of heart flame shattered the blood sea and attacked with an indomitable aura. The blood-red fist seemed to want to shatter this chaotic land. Its eyes were vertical, and blood flowed, causing the void to tremble. Shaoyan's back straightened, and his eyes filled with fighting intent. He took a step forward, and it seemed as if he had crossed thousands of meters. The golden fist smashed through the void, and a vast and mighty force spread across the horizon, meeting the blood-red fist of the spirit of heart flame. Boom! The 2 fists collided, and a heaven-shaking explosion was heard. In the next moment, the 2 figures once again rushed forward. They were like 2 shooting stars that continuously flashed. In an instant, they had exchanged hundreds of blows. Crack! Shaoyan's palm swung forward and violently landed on the chest of the spirit of heart flame. However, Shaoyan's shoulder also received a blood-colored punch from the latter. Instantly, the sound of bones cracking emitted from both their bodies. Shaoyan was bathed in blood as he fought. Golden light radiated from his body, washing away all the blood stains. As he swung his fist, he unleashed the monic skill that he had mastered, causing the void to tremble and whistle continuously. Boom! Boom! Explosive sounds could be heard without end, and the spirit of heart flame didn't seem to be at a disadvantage. He had mastered all of Shaoyan's monic skills, and his combat experience and mentality were almost identical. The more he fought, the more courageous he became. His blood and ki filled the air, and his killing intent soared to the sky. It was as if the blood-red fist had just smashed open a sea of blood. With every punch, boundless blood and ki filled the air, and every single drop of blood contained an equal amount of power. Hua! The 2 monic flames were also evenly matched. The flames and ki in the 2 seas of fire soared to the sky, and their power was equal. Although they were attacking each other, neither could gain the upper hand. The 2 were sent flying once again. Shaoyan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and a serious look emerged in his eyes. After a long fierce battle, the amount of origin ki he had was decreasing, but the spirit of heart flame that had transformed into his own self was not weakened at all. If this continued, he would surely be the one to lose. Spirit of heart flame, my little self, the fighting monarch of lower realm can only rely on my undefeatable faith to have a slim chance of winning. This was the last sentence written by that Emperor Cultivation Senior on the comprehension of the heart flame burning. At this moment, it reverberated in Shaoyan's mind, causing the latter's eyes to fill with thought. Undefeatable faith. Don't I have the one in front of me? Shaoyan said to himself. His eyes burned. 2 golden lights shot out from his golden eyes, as if he wanted to see through the spirit of heart flame in front of him. The latter was also in high spirits, and his entire body was filled with an undefeatable aura. When he fought with the spirit of heart flame, Shaoyan could also feel the strangeness of the latter's every move. The habits between the moves were exactly the same as his. Shaoyan smiled bitterly. This was a battle that was impossible to determine the victor. If they fought until the end, he would undoubtedly be the one to suffer. Qi, the blood-red light in the spirit of heart flame's eyes condensed, and his facial expression became even richer. A trace of a cold smile could be seen at the corner of his mouth. Shaoyan was very familiar with this smile. He felt as if he was looking into a mirror. The person in front of him was him. Boom! Another intense battle. The two exchanged blows. In an instant, hundreds of rounds had passed. The more Shaoyan fought, the more depressed he became. His origin ki was slowly being consumed, while his opponent's ki grew more vigorous. For a moment, he was unable to withstand it. This won't do. If this continues, I will die sooner or later. Shaoyan was sent flying once again. He landed on the ground and shook his head gloomily. The bones in his body broke again and again due to the intense attacks. However, they were healed again and again under the golden light, displaying a shocking healing force. It was the same for the spirit of heart flame standing opposite him. His blood ki was astonishing, and his broken bones were quickly restored. He didn't suffer any serious injuries. Undefeatable faith. Undefeatable faith. Shaoyan's mind focused as he thought about the meaning of these words. His imposing manner was like that of a dragon as he rushed over without hesitation. Clearly, he had the habit of beating a drowning dog. Crack! The two fists violently collided once again. Golden light and blood ki collided. Neither could gain the upper hand. Both retreated backward. Shaoyan himself was in an even more miserable state. The intense consumption of the origin ki within his body caused him to suffer losses every time they collided. No wonder so many geniuses from the lower realm fell to the heart flame burning. There is no way they can win against an origin ki that never dries up. Shaoyan sighed in his heart. His opponent had mastered all of his monic skills. Even with the starlight silent step and unknown holy arts like the heavenly monic fire burning body, his control was the same. He really didn't know how to win against such an opponent. Ow! In the distance, blood and ki surged. Blood waves rolled in the sea of blood. This time, there was no blood white tiger or green dragon. Instead, there was a mass of black yin ki. The yin ki soared into the sky and suddenly turned into a palm-sized black phoenix. The black phoenix let out a soft cry, and its voice seemed to penetrate through the void. In Shaoyan's ears, it sounded like there were hundreds of claws scratching his eardrums. Damn it, it's the great yin phoenix technique. Shaoyan's expression turned ugly. Then, he could only smile bitterly. The incomplete yin scroll that Jade Fairy gave him contained the Great Yin Space Technique, the Great Yin Burial Technique, and the Great Yin Phoenix Technique. After comprehending the yin-yang fusion origin ki, he had successfully cultivated these techniques. However, because he specialized in the Four-Spirit Emperor technique, he did not delve further into them. Su, the Black Phoenix's voice was loud and clear. It then transformed into a black stream of air that pierced through space. It rushed toward Shaoyan without any energy leaking from its body. It seemed extremely normal. Shaoyan would never underestimate this ki current. When he was cultivating the Great Yin Phoenix technique, he had also witnessed the power of this airflow. It was powerful enough to pierce through a giant mountain. Even an ordinary defensive spirit weapon would be penetrated. He immediately moved his hands. He urged the few remaining origin Kiss in his body to fly out. The black key behind him solidified. A black door appeared within the black key, and the door opened with a loud bang. Boundless black key surged. It was the Great Yin burial technique. The two attacks dissipated at the same time. A sense of weakness immediately came from Xiaoyan's body. Obviously, the origin key was about to run out. What is the undefeatable belief? Xiaoyan's chest heaved up and down violently. His eyes were solemn, and a bitter smile appeared on his face. He had never thought that the strongest enemy among his peers would be himself. Chapter End. Battle Through the Firmament. Great World. Chapter 584 Become an Emperor. Ka. A violent explosion sounded out as the spirit of Heart Flame charged forward once more, carrying an indomitable imposing aura. The blood key behind it surged into the sky, and its battle intent was high. It was like numerous sharp swords that seemed to be on the verge of shattering the chaos. Xiaoyan gritted his teeth. Golden light surged in his eyes, and a sense of weakness washed through his body like a tidal wave. His limbs felt somewhat weak. Facing the storm-like attacks of the spirit of Heart Flame, he could only grit his teeth and step forward. Boom! Like two shooting stars colliding fiercely once more, Xiaoyan was instantly sent flying backward. Several of his bones broke, and he couldn't help but spit out a few mouthfuls of blood. Golden light shone from his body, instantly healing his injuries. Xiaoyan, who had transformed into the spirit of Heart Flame, laughed coldly. He once again charged forward. There was an inexhaustible origin key in his body. In a situation where his strength was on par with Xiaoyan's, it was sufficient to completely crush the latter. Boom! The explosive sound was like thunder. Every punch of the spirit of Heart Flame was powerful and shattered the entire chaotic space. The origin key in Xiaoyan's body was gone, and he could only use his physical body to defend himself. Strangely, the spirit of Heart Flame did not use the monic skill anymore. It also used its physical body to defend itself. The origin key wrapped around its fist struck Xiaoyan's chest, breaking another sternum. Cough cough. Xiaoyan was sent flying several dozen feet away. He wiped the golden blood from the corner of his mouth. His broken sternum had already recovered. His eyes lit up. He seemed to have vaguely sensed something, but he could not tell what it was. In the chaotic space, the intense battle between the two continued. However, Xiaoyan kept retreating step by step. The more the spirit of Heart Flame fought, the more courageous it became. Every time it attacked, it would hit Xiaoyan's body. Every punch would hit his flesh, and his bones would crack. 3 days passed by slowly. During these 3 days, the battle between the two didn't stop at all. All the bones in Xiaoyan's body had nearly been broken. Fortunately, he had been baptized by the golden light. His broken bones healed over and over again, and each recovery brought about a significant strengthening, allowing him to last until now. Xiaoyan was once again sent flying by the spirit of Heart Flame. He leaped the moment he landed on the ground. In these 3 days, he had completely relied on the strength of his physical body to resist the spirit of Heart Flame. At the beginning, he had been in a sorry state, but now, he had become numb to the pain. He seemed to have discovered the flaws in his battle. These flaws, and it was exactly what he had. I'm coming. Golden light flowed out from Xiaoyan's eyes as he casually wiped away the blood at the corner of his mouth. He roared with laughter as his foot suddenly stomped on the ground and smashed toward the spirit of Heart Flame. The latter's aura was still vast like the ocean, and his blood key was monstrous. During these 3 days, his vital key had become slightly chaotic. Undefeatable faith. The fighting intent in Xiaoyan's eyes was firm. During these 3 days, he had been almost crushed by the spirit of Heart Flame. However, it did not affect his fighting intent at all. His heart was still as firm as a rock, and his understanding of the undefeatable belief was also completely understood. All things in the world were endless. The so-called undefeatable wasn't about winning the present world forever, but about being unable to be defeated by oneself. No one in the world could be undefeatable. The Shang clan's Shang Yu possessed the tyrant heavenly king body, and his name shook all regions. If he was an example, all the geniuses of the same age as him would be defeated. This was because they weren't the possessors of the tyrannical heavenly king physique. In this region, there was only Shang Yu who was the victor. If one wasn't defeated by oneself, it meant that one's heart was firm, that all living things wouldn't be moved, and that one's belief would always be rooted in one's heart. This was the undefeatable belief. Break for me. Xiaoyan's entire body was bathed in golden light, and his eyes shot out golden beams that seemed as if they could pierce through the chaos. The golden light within his body roared and shook, as if he was a holy spirit. He threw out a punch, causing the chaos to shatter. The golden light was 10,000 feet in length. Xiaoyan was like a golden dragon, and he punched out with an indomitable force. In a trance, a dragon's roar was heard. In an instant, it pierced through the Spirit of Heart Flame's chest and shattered the blood sea behind him. The Spirit of Heart Flame transformed into Xiaoyan with an expressionless face. He looked at the fist-sized hole in his chest and suddenly laughed loudly. He turned around and looked at Xiaoyan, who was covered in blood. His eyes were unusually bright. Xiaoyan's body was tall and straight, and his heart was filled with fighting spirit. His eyes were also fixed on the Spirit of Heart Flame, and his eyes were filled with unyielding spirit. Boom! In the next moment, amidst the loud laughter of the Spirit of Heart Flame, he turned into a red light that filled the sky and spread out. The red light that filled the sky seemed to have a mind of its own. It floated in the chaos, then gathered in one place, and entered Xiaoyan's danshan. Buzz! His mind buzzed, and the blood and qi in his danshan churned. Xiaoyan did not have time to make a sound. He fainted without feeling anything. At the same time, his body suddenly disappeared from this chaotic spatial zone. In the next moment, this spatial zone also shattered with a loud bang. In the outside world, Xiaoao was patiently waiting. Xiaoyan, who was standing in front of him, had a calm expression. His breathing was even. He could not sense a trace of qi fluctuation from his body. He was just like an ordinary person who had lost his origin qi. I was just thinking of refining the 3 blood traces. Why are there so many twists and turns? Why are there so many things happening? Xiaoao sighed helplessly. First, it was shocked by Xiaoyan's crazy idea of refining the golden light, and then it had no choice but to encounter the heart flame burning. It really had no idea how many trials this guy had endured. Mingyan Divine Domain, Middle Domain, these places, I have to go in the future. Xiaoao muttered to himself in a low voice. His voice was deep and his clear eyes were filled with seriousness. All of a sudden, a soft sound was heard. Xiaoao's eyes widened, and it hurriedly raised its head. Xiaoyan, who had been sitting quietly for a few days, was trembling slightly. His eyelashes were trembling, and his eyes seemed to be opening with great effort. Boom! In the next moment, a sharp and vast aura surged out from his body. The aura spread and scattered the surrounding dense origin kiss. Xiaoao was also sent flying and heavily smashed onto the ground. Did I succeed? Did I succeed? Xiaoao laid on the ground with a wide smile on its face. It stared at Xiaoyan with a death stare, afraid that it had made a mistake. Qi, following a faintly discernible sound, Xiaoyan's eyes finally opened. In an instant, 2 rays of golden light shot out from his eyes. He didn't know where it went. Within his body, the 10 origin chains rumbled. Under the cover of the specks of red light, they began to slowly form one origin chain. Rumble. Xiaoyan's body was bathed in golden light. He raised his head towards the sky, and the furious thunder within his body rumbled. It was as if thunder had exploded and metal clanging continuously rang out. Endless golden light surged out from the top of his head and formed a vast picture behind him. The picture was surrounded by clouds and fog, as if it was carrying a mountain that supported the heaven and earth. A vast expanse appeared in front of his eyes, and it caused one's heart to be overwhelmed with shock. Xiaoao's mind was in a trance, and it stared intently at the picture on Xiaoyan's back. When every monarch emperor advanced to the emperor cultivation, the 10 origin chains would combine into one, and the majestic key would form a picture behind them. They were all different. Some of them were weapons filled with killing intent. Some said that the lightning that could anger the 9 heavens was once the yin-yang Saint Lord. According to the legends, when one broke through to the emperor cultivation, the yin-yang disc behind them shot up into the sky. It shocked countless old monsters, but what did this mountain behind Xiaoyan mean? Buzz buzz. 10 origin chains shook. After a while, the sound stopped. The huge mountain that could support the heaven and earth turned into a golden chain and rushed into Xiaoyan's head. After that, a majestic and terrifying aura burst out from Xiaoyan's body. Emperor cultivation. Xiaoao's lips trembled because of the excitement. Whether it was him or Xiaoyan, they had waited for this day for more than 10 years. The one with the surname Yi, he did it. He has become an emperor cultivation. We can finally know everything you know. Xiaoao's eyes turned red, and it roared madly in its heart. Chapter N. Battle Through the Firmament. Great World. Chapter 585. Iron Shoulder, the Responsibility of Morality. Buzz. Within the dense origin key space, there seemed to be a flash of lightning. The violent key on Xiaoyan's body gradually returned to normal. The terrifying key that was stirred by the origin key just now had completely returned to normal at this moment. Within his body, an origin chain that was as thick as an arm stretched across his limbs and bones. Golden light surged on the chain, and the origin keys hovering above it were many times more powerful than before. Each origin key was at least 100 times stronger than when he was at the monarch emperor. When one was at the emperor cultivation, the origin key chains within one's body would merge into one. The name would change along with it, and it would be called 100. At this moment, there was an origin key chain within Xiaoyan's body that was as tall as a mountain, and it was the strength of 100 emperor cultivation warriors. Theoretically speaking, the strength of an emperor cultivation warrior was comparable to 100 monarch emperor warriors. This was also one of the reasons why an emperor cultivation warrior was different from a monarch emperor warrior in the emperor cultivation realm. What a shocking blood energy! It's like a vast ocean. Xiaoao muttered to itself. Xiaoyan sat in front of him. He could sense a vast and mighty aura spreading out from the latter's body, causing one's expression to change. The 2 golden lights in his eyes slowly scattered. Xiaoyan let out a long roar. His voice shook the mountains and rivers as he stretched his body, causing his bones to explode. Comfortable. Xiaoyan shook his neck and let out a long and pleasant cry. A bright light flashed in his eyes, and he jumped up from the ground. He was full of energy, and he didn't look like a dried corpse that had died a moment ago. Xiaoao, you have changed. Xiaoyan stood up and looked at the Xiaoao with his bright eyes. This is what I used to look like. The Xiaoao smiled. A trace of memory was revealed in its eyes. The Xiaoyan in front of it, no matter if it was his aura or presence, they were all very different. For some reason, it gave people a huge shock. In the past, Xiaoyan's pupils slightly narrowed, and he asked in a doubtful voice, "Is it because of the sacred aura?" "Maybe." The Xiaoao nodded. Under the suppression of the overwhelming sacred aura, it seemed to have touched a certain part of his heart. After being reborn, the suppressed bloodline surged wildly, allowing him to recover his lost memories. "No matter what, I didn't suffer for nothing these past few days." Xiaoyan nodded. He slowly clenched his fists, feeling the majestic origin key within his body. This feeling was exceptionally beautiful. Next, it's the origin key that I have been waiting for so long. With a twist of his voice, Xiaoyan loosened his palm. A crystal medicine pill the size of a longan appeared in his palm. Looking at the crystal clear Qi Yuan pill in his hand, Xiaoyan's entire body involuntarily trembled. There was too much relief in his voice. This Qi Yuan pill was given to him by Elder Yi when the illusion realm collapsed. There was a lot of information recorded in it. Although he didn't know what it was exactly, Xiaoyan had a strong feeling that the information contained must have something that made him panic. This. Looking at the crystal-clear medicine pill in Xiaoyan's hand, the Xiaoao's expression changed and instantly understood. Its eyes dimmed slightly and it didn't speak anymore. Teacher, I've made you wait for a long time. Xiaoyan's eyes were filled with gentleness. He placed his palm in front of his eyes and stared at the medicine pill. That was emitting a faint light. It was exquisite and exquisite. Boom! The next moment, Xiaoyan held his breath and focused his mind. Boundless soul energy surged out from between his brows. It was like a sharp blade that cut through the sky. It gathered at one point and stabbed towards the Qi Yuan pill in his hand. Buzz! A sound that shook people's minds was heard. It was as if a yellow bell was ringing incessantly. The Xiaoao's head buzzed. The purple origin key in his body surged and finally eliminated this discomfort. Soul energy. It has indeed been strengthened. Looking at the solemn face of Xiaoyan, the Xiaoao couldn't help but be speechless. With just this soul energy alone, he was afraid that it would cause an emperor cultivation warrior of the same level to suffer a loss. The 3-foot-long blade formed from soul energy seemed to have pierced through a huge mountain, slowly opening up a hole in it. However, if one wanted to pierce through the entire mountain, it would require an unknown amount of effort. Sweat trickled down Xiaoyan's forehead, but he did not panic at all. Clearly, he was fully prepared for the means left behind by Elder Yi. Immediately, he sank his key into his danshan. His 5 fingers suddenly clenched tightly, and the force that was enough to crush the spirit weapon burst forth with a loud bang. The origin key chains in his body surged, and his golden key and blood churned. An incomparably huge origin key surged into the Qi Yuan pill in his palm, and combined with his soul force. He was going to break through this medicine pill in one go. Sizzle sizzle. A bone-cracking sound was heard from the Qi Yuan pill. Xiaoyan's eyes shone with a golden light as he used all his strength to pinch the medicine pill. This force was enough to shatter a high-tier spirit weapon, but it only caused the Qi Yuan pill to buzz. There was not even a single crack on the surface of the medicine pill. Heavenly monic fire burning body. Xiaoyan roared in a deep voice. The origin key in his body was burning, and the origin chain was shaking violently. Energy surged out from his limbs and bones like a tidal wave and poured into the Qi Yuan pill. In an instant, visible cracks began to spread on the surface of the pill. Boom! As the origin key whistled, Xiaoyan's soul energy did not fall at all. The moment he advanced to the emperor cultivation, his soul also suddenly rose. It was as if he had entered a state of illusion. It was a profound mystery, and his body had become much more relaxed. He felt as if he had broken through the clouds and seen the blue sky. He had completely turned into an illusory soul. The soul energy was as deep as the ocean as it continuously bombarded the Qi Yuan pill. When combined with the terrifying origin key that caused the space to tremble, a cracking sound was heard. Xiaoyan's tightly clenched fingers suddenly loosened, and the Qi Yuan pill finally shattered. A cluster of illusory fog emerged from within, as if it was a dream or an illusion. If Xiaoyan's soul hadn't entered the illusory world, he wouldn't have been able to detect it at all. It's this. Xiaoyan ignored the golden blood that flowed out from the cracks between his thumb and forefinger, and stared at the fog with a dazed gaze. In the next moment, as if he had sensed something, his soul energy instantly surged out and absorbed the fog. Putong. After finishing all of this, Xiaoyan's legs went limp. He couldn't help but sit on the ground. He didn't read the huge piece of information immediately. His eyes were blank and his body was trembling. There was a trace of panic in his firm heart. The 10 years of waiting had finally been completed today. Apart from excitement, there was also a heavy feeling in his heart. The Xiaoao stood silently on the side. After following Xiaoyan for so long, he could also feel Xiaoyan's current mood. If the latter had finished reading this piece of information, he would definitely carry an incomparably heavy burden. This was a secret that involved the ultimate sant. Perhaps even a heavenly sovereign wouldn't dare to touch it. Silence. The existence of the blood eye seemed to have suffered a serious injury. Shaoyan hadn't even broken through to the Emperor cultivation. In the entire origin key, except for the breathing of Shaoyan and the Xiaoao, it was terrifyingly silent. After an unknown period of time, Shaoyan suddenly stood up. His gaze was profound, as if he had seen through the entire spatial zone. After a long time, he sat down cross-legged once again and closed his eyes slowly. The Xiaoao watched Shaoyan's actions without saying a word. It was only when the latter sat cross-legged did a trace of a deep smile flash across his eyes. It seemed like he had underestimated this fellow's disposition. To be able to create a blood-stained sovereign path in the lower realm, even a heavenly sovereign from a great world could not compare to him. "Teacher, the student has come," Shaoyan said to himself in his heart. The next moment, his soul shook and instantly entered the vast sea of fog in his mind. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.